Hello and welcome to the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, also streamed on Expert CRE Secrets podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options, and also real estate brokers, M&A advisors, business brokers, commercial brokers, they struggle with clarifying their cash flow broker models. And we want to help make all things simple when it comes to eXp and what the model is and how it works and how you can create and preserve more wealth and help your team thrive through a model we like to say is getting on the right side of the quadrant of the rich dad, poor dad type of model, being a business owner and investor, versus the left side, which is a W-2 employee and 1099 employee. And I'm with my co-host and business partner, Matt Stewart. Matt, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Blessed to be here.
Excited to be back again. We're doing about a once a week type of deal here where
Love it.
We're breaking things down for everybody. And so talking about challenges and objections and good things and upcoming events and masterminding. And, I got to say, Matt, there's a lot on the table here in the next few weeks with Cabo coming up. I think it's just about sold out or always sold out. And people are scrambling to get tickets and hotel rooms. We do have a few tickets here to invite a couple people. But other than that, talk to me. What's been the big news this week?
Gosh, there's so much going on. I got back from Puerto Rico. If you've been following the podcast, I've shared that. And we had the top 35 income earners for the, worldwide with the company. And all of us were saying, this is the year. This is the year. Everybody's coming, right? We're at 74,000 agents. There you go. Success Magazine, 500,000 agents in 5 years. eXp is a phenomenon. And what's interesting in talking to some of the leaders in the area here and so forth, I mentioned, our partner, Tom Daves, we were talking and he said, man, the phone calls are so much easier now. The people are really open to it. So what I tell people is, the first wave, because I have people say, boy, I should have got back, well, I'll give you an example. I was talking to a
broker. Should have bought Bitcoin
owner.
when it first came out, when I saw it.
Yeah, right. I was talking to a broker owner who was called directly from Brent 6 years ago, and they said no. And, in talking with him, he goes, gosh, I've seen what Brent's done now. And if I would have actually move forward, holy moly. And I said, okay, look, here's the deal, right? There's two great times to plant a tree. The best one was 20 years ago. And then the second best time is today. So yeah, you didn't join 6 years ago, but you know what? The reality is the second wave is always bigger than the first wave. The first wave is when you got just gravel roads, or you may not have roads at all. I mean, you're blazing the trail. Bumpy. You're trying to build belief in people, and you're
riding your bike or your scooter, right? You might be on even a skateboard, like with the half thing. Yeah,
absolutely. You're trying to get other, people riding their bikes to follow you. Come on, we're going.
My kids and I, we play Fortnite here and there, and like we get in the car or we get in the truck, and they do like their dances, and it's kind of wild. Everyone's kind of going their own way. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. As things start to progress and as things the kinks start to get worked out, right? By the way, if you're a startup, you're not having growing pains. You're probably not moving fast enough, right?
Right.
You're not doing things as quickly as you should be.
Yeah.
And that's what I love too about eXp. They're so let's go make it happen. Let's be innovative. Let's be creative, and let's bring in the best leaders who are entrepreneurial, and let's go build this thing together.
Yeah, you're right. And one of our core values is agility, and that, being able to turn on a dime and be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, so, and that's what's going on now is you have the first wave where people are coming and, everybody goes, oh, I should have gone at the beginning. I would have be a multimillionaire. Yeah, maybe you probably wouldn't have had the fortitude or the guts to be able to push through all the potholes, all the struggles and growing pains. Most people quit. Right. And that's why those that stick it out during those times get rewarded handsomely. But what's interesting is the second wave is always bigger. And the reason for that is we have validity in the marketplace. There is social proof out there. There's signs, eXp signs everywhere. There's this big team, that big team, this brokerage, this individual rock star agent. They've already, they've come over now and they go, gosh, I see all these signs everywhere. I mean, eXp, what's going on there? So now they're curious. in the beginning it was, I don't think it's going to last. It's not a sustainable model and blah, 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 like all these, objections. And now those aren't the objections anymore. Now the objections are, oh, I should have gotten it at the beginning. It's too late. I've missed the boat. And I go,
these false beliefs that we build up in our minds, right? And we get frustrated because we either make good decisions or poor decisions. We miss something, whether it be an investment or an opportunity. And it's the emotion that we have to let our egos get out of the way, right? We have to trade the joy of being right for the joy of what's true, right? And this is not coming from me. This is from a guy named Ray Dalio. He's much smarter than me.
Yeah,
His book's up there somewhere. I was just reading it, and I'm trying to read it to my kids too. And I'm trying to remind myself that we let our ego and our pride get in the way, and we have these blind spots, right? And sometimes it's hard. It's hard to be like, I was wrong. I missed it. And am I willing to say I missed it? But now I'm ready to jump in and dive in. I always tell people too, if they're joining eXp or considering it, like, hey man, what's the worst that can happen? Like you go and it's literally not everything we said it was. Like if it's even half of that, it's probably better than where you're at. But let's imagine it's not. Like you can always go back to Blockbuster. You can always go back to Circuit City, or maybe yours is the Netflix and we're missing it. And if you can show me that, then boom, hey, let's go join yours. Let's go build your thing, right, with that. But there's another saying that goes, you can tell who the pioneers are, because some people think, oh, I have a better way, or I'll just do it my own way. Well, they're the ones that are, they want to go blaze their own trail, but they're the ones with the arrows in their back and they're face down in the dust, because sometimes we want to be the creative one or the one that recreates the wheel, especially the very ultra driven, leaders of the industries. Right? We're wanting to be those that create it. But at some point you got to say, you know what? This is like the Amazon. Like this is the Netflix. Like this is a big movement. This is a wave. Let me jump on and go with this. And that's where I'm at. I got 5 kids, 2 podcasts, 2 companies.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah. And so I'm like, you know what? If I could jump on with some amazing folks, and ride the wave and go with it and build it together, to me, what else am I missing, Matt?
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like that. You have the mentality of, well, I get 100% of the pie, it's my pie, but it's a small little pie. Right. And people go, well, wait a minute. It's actually better to have a slice of a huge pie. Right. And if you can get people to realize that, to let go of their own little pie, it's kind of like this. I've shared this at times, but do you know how they catch monkeys out in the jungle?
No, I've never tried. Tell me.
Yeah. Right. So what they do is they go and get a barrel, and they do it without firing any shots. I mean, they catch live monkeys. This is how they do it.
Okay.
Is they get a barrel. Okay. I don't know. I picture a wine barrel or something. And then they drill a hole in the side of it or the top of it or whatever. Right. Yeah. It's only big enough for their hand to fit in.
Yes.
And they fill it with treats, bananas, this, that, whatever, right? That they really get excited about. And so they come down out of the trees and they smell it and they get in there and they stick their hand in and they grab the banana, but the hole's only big enough to get in and out if they don't keep the banana.
Yep.
Right.
They let go. Yeah.
So literally we as humans can be the same way. We hold on to things. Mm-hmm. And literally these hunters will just come right up and just take the monkey and put him in a sack.
I was talking to Tom Daves.
Fire a shot.
I was talking to Tom Daves yesterday. We were on a call with a potential eXp commercial. Someone's going to join. And we'll talk about why it wasn't a good fit for those who are curious. But we were talking, and basically says people move for 2 reasons: to go towards pleasure, away from pain.
Yeah.
But like 80% of the time, like if they're going to make a move, it's away from pain. And so that idea of the monkey with his hand in there, right? He's holding on because he wants that pleasure. Okay. But guess what? You light a fire on his, on his tail, like he's probably letting go and getting out of there. Right. And so it's, I always say the best time to negotiate when you don't need to negotiate, right? I tell my sellers who are selling real estate or whatever, businesses or cryptocurrencies, like the best time to go to market and negotiate is when you don't have a health challenge or a death in the family or a divorce or a partnership breakup. Like when the market's red hot and everything's roaring and things are smooth and going well, that's the best time to exit financially in a way to do it where you're not under the gun. Right. Yeah. And so for those who are listening, you're like, well, I'm already successful. I'm already doing all these things. Okay. Yeah, we hear that. That makes sense. That's probably why you're going to love eXp, because the most successful entrepreneurial type of agents, the ones that I'm around, the ones that Matt's around, they're here. right? In fact, I was looking at Glenn Sanford. He's on Twitter this week, and there's a big announcement of a huge guy from
Oh yeah,
where's he at
Mark
here?
Willis
Yeah, Mark Willis from Keller Williams.
from Keller
And
Williams.
so what I always tell people is like, hey, if it's good enough for Tom Days, who is number one in the world 7 different times, Matt Stewart, who sold over 500 homes with Coldwell Banker and Keller Williams, me, I'm little on me doing Deferred Sales Trust and some commercial real estate stuff.
Yeah, you're
and then Mark Willis, all these people, you're like, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe my hand's in that jar and I'm holding on something too tight. And so what we would encourage people to do is do what, Matt? I think watch the video, right? Watch the model explain.
themodelexplain.com.
Sit down with like Matt or myself and like literally debate it or think about it or explore it, mastermind it, right? And see if it could be a fit. But Matt, it's never a good time to move, Matt. Like I'm so busy, Matt.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, we're always busy. In fact, they say if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. Right. So, but I'm very curious. You dropped a little hint there, Brett, that you said that you talked to a commercial guy and it wasn't a good fit, and you told him as such. And so before you elaborate on that, I want to bring up the point. You said, hey, watch the video, www.themodelexplain.com. It's got our business partner and good friend, Brent Gove, and so on. And then give us a call back, reach out to us, and we can go over it. Well, one of the things that we do that I think is pretty special, because not everybody does this, a lot of the people out there are just trying to convince and sell people to get over here, right? But eXp isn't necessarily for everyone. And I think you and I are honest and going, let's break it down. What are you currently, getting? What do you have now? Here's what eXp offers. Here's why we think it would be a good fit for you. Here's why, probably you should stick with what you're doing.
And to that point, Matt, like there's certain, like a team, you look at like the Golden State Warriors or the San Francisco 49ers, like you had George Kittle talking about, he's a tight end, and he was on a talk show today. And he's talking about the how tight the locker room was and how they were in it for each other, right? And the culture of those things and how the pieces fit into those organizations. And eXp has different organizations. And what I love about our organization, right, which is with Matt Stewart, is with Brent Gove, is with Don Yoakum, Randy Bird, Tom Daves. Like what I love about it is it's very diverse, right? You got like Randy Bird, who's with Tom Ferry, coach, right? He's been outside. You got Don Yoakum, who's one of the most prolific managers of KW offices, with the fastest growing of all time. You have Tom Daves, who was number 1 in the world 7 different times. You have myself, who's in commercial real estate, multifamily brokerage, deferred sales trust. You have yourself, who's coaching, training, and different personality types. All of these things create like a cohesive locker room, if you will, right? And so it's not just the eXp model. It's also, hey, where am I going to grow? Where am I going to be stretched? Where am I going to be running with, I call it rhinos. There's a book called Rhinoceros Success. And it's like you want to be running with packs of rhinos, but you also want to fit into where it would be a good fit for you and them for us for you as well. And so that's part of the call with Tom. So we got on the call, and it was a gal, and she's with Keller Williams. And she's excited about the opportunity to go commercial, but she still was new to the residential world. And we started to just chat a little bit. And really the question for commercial, and I always tell people who are considering going commercial, like, do you understand the intensity of how even more hyper competitive it is than residential? Less listings, more specialist, very, very dialed down. It's more transactional. It's always relational, but it's definitely like who has the deal to be able to provide off-market deal, the relationships. But I asked her the one question, and I said, hey, and it's not so much she wasn't a good fit for eXp. I don't know that she's a great fit for real estate, because I said, hey, tell me about your cold calling experience. And I was just quiet. And I just let her answer that question. And she was honest. She's like, I hate cold calling. Like, I don't do any cold calling. Like, that's part of what I don't like about it, And it's like, well, if you don't like cold calling in residential, right? Because she had tried it, like, you're going to loathe it in commercial, because it's like,
they're brutal.
It's even more brutal. So I just said, and then second, I said, when I started out, I don't want to dissuade you, like, as much as we want you to have an amazing career with eXp commercial, but it's like, 7 a.m. to 5, 6, 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 250, 300 calls a week, just full immersion, 60, 70-hour weeks. And that took me 2 years to really get my my feet underneath me and go through the blood, sweat, and tears of
Yeah.
underwriting and coaching and training and keep getting kicked in on the phone, on the cold calls. And I said, if you're willing to do that, anyone can succeed. Like if you're willing to go through enough of that pain and commit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I'm hearing is, and I go, look, and if you can find somebody who is where you want to be and is doing that, then go do that. And I go, look, I'm running podcasts. I got 5 kids. I'm selling deals. I'm already established. I got 16 years in the business. So I'm already at a certain point where I wouldn't be that guy. So it wasn't so much no to eXp commercial. It was who can provide you that direct mentorship to help you level up to where you want to be on a day-to-day, grind it out, 50, 60, 70-hour weeks, right? And I said, if you're willing to do that, then that is the person, right? You join. Now, that person who's over there at Marcus Millichap or Colliers or CBRE, hey, bring that to eXp model and watch things explode even more, right?
Yeah.
Those are the folks that we're trying to build organization. Not that we won't help the new person if they're willing to put it in, but that's why we said no. It's just not a good fit. Perhaps get something a little more
Stable.
yeah, and I don't even know that's real estate. It's residential, commercial.
Yeah.
I think it might be a whole different career change.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's well, that I look at that as loving on the person. I think you're giving them straight speak, truth, right? And then they can decide and look within and go, am I really that person? Am I really ready to bust my tail and, go all in? And if they're not, if they're not, they'll get chewed up and spit out in commercial. And they'll get in this market, they'll get chewed up and spit out in residential because everybody knows 5 or 6 realtors now, right? So
100%.
there's got to be something, your value proposition, there's got to be something that sets you apart versus, and we talked about in our team meeting that, you can't just say, oh, I help people buy and sell real estate. Great. Well, there's like 15,000 realtors in our 2 counties here that help people do that. So
yeah, we talk about credibility. In fact, that was a great note. See if I wrote it down there. Basically, it's having like a one-liner. Donald Miller calls it the one-liner, right? Yeah, and then this gentleman called it a credibility
C-pop.
statement. Yeah, and so like Donald Miller's thought of it is, make the customer, the client, the hero, right? We're not the hero, right? Make them the hero. Now we are the guide to help them get to where they're trying to achieve. And this isn't every like story that there's Yoda and there's Luke Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
You see this parallel in all of these major stories. And so having a one line like, hey, what do you do? Oh, I sell houses is not going to be that compelling. I sell houses. It's like, well, perhaps it's, he put it like this, like Cupertino. And I don't want to butcher it. It's like Cupertino, who likes to see people smile when a house closes, something along those lines, right? There was one of them. It was like the emotional one. And then it was this specialist, the other one, Cupertino. I have to find you probably know it. Maybe do you know it? I'm going to try to find my. But here it is.
I don't know it exactly. I don't want to butcher it, but it was basically the bottom line is the riches are in the niches. And I think one of the biggest issues that I'll just say from the residential side that realtors make is when they're asked that question, that's their golden opportunity to set themselves apart and lodge it in the prospect's brain where it's at the front of their mind versus put in there with everything else. Meaning, I help people buy and sell real estate. Great. I know 5 or 6 of those. It doesn't stand out, right? But, I help Folsom, or if you had an even more niche, like a subdivision, I help those that live in Briggs Ranch in Folsom, California, buy and sell for top dollar in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I got a friend in Briggs Ranch that they're thinking of selling. Great.
And then Donald Miller, his is, and our one-liner for capital gains tax solutions is most, millionaires, they struggle with capital gains tax when they go to exit their highly appreciated assets. And we use a deferred sales trust. We as the guide use the deferred sales trust to give them the outcome: tax deferral, liquidity, diversification, never feeling pressure by the 1031 ever again, so that they can create and preserve more wealth. Now, this is a large statement here, but it helps to break down the intricacies of who they are, right? Who you serve, what it is that is going to give them the breakthrough for what they're trying to achieve, which is the outcome, right? So it's the pain, It's the solution and it's the outcome, and you weave that into a statement so that you're not just like, oh, we do tax deferral. You're like, well, what does that mean? Well, we want to be specific about, we could also, you could also add into there. So, most commercial real estate owners, they struggle with finding a good quality 1031 exchange property when they go to sell.
Mm-hmm.
I specialize in something that gives them an alternative to that so that they never have to feel trapped to overpay for again, and so they can create and preserve more wealth. You can do the same thing with houses. Like I specialize, or most, Palo Alto luxury homeowners, they struggle with selling their property and having a huge tax beyond their 121 exclusion. My team and we use the Deferred Sales Trust to give them tax deferral, liquidity, and the ability to move out of California and live off a passive cash flow stream. So whatever that is, learning those sequences can help, and that's part of our masterminds, which are amazing. Tom did an amazing job. That best-selling author, I think he interviewed 500 people, right, on his podcast.
Yeah, Mitchell Levy was the author, right? Yeah. So
what else? What else
gosh,
this week?
there's so much going on.
mind?
The other thing, it's interesting, kind of on a point you mentioned just a little bit ago, was the aspect of I was talking to a broker and he said, we got things are pretty good right now. We're pretty happy and all that. The market's great. And I said, no, I get it. I mean, market's great right now. And he goes, so yeah, we probably wouldn't do anything. We're comfortable and all that stuff. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, so the reason you're not open-minded to learning about a possible different business model that could be a solution, granted, it's not a solution because he doesn't need a solution right now in his mind. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, as soon as the market shifts and changes, he will not be prepared. And he'll have a problem, and then he'll be scrambling for a solution. The best time to come up with solutions is before the problems happen. Right. Mm-hmm. So if he were open-minded to different models now, he could put things in place so that when he starts to see things change and transition, he's already going up and running. Who's brilliant at this?
Who's that?
Tom Daves. He's brilliant. He got on planes and flew out to asset managers and banks in other states prior to the huge crash, but he saw it coming. And it's the old Wayne Gretzky quote, how come you're the number one most prolific scorer is I don't, the other guys skate where the puck is, and I skate where the puck's going to be. Right. And I think that's the biggest thing is when we get going on production and market's great, and I got so many in escrow, I'm making so much money and I'm just trying to keep up with it and all that. That's skating where the puck is. That's where it is now. That is not putting any wisdom in the aspect of, hey, this puck is not going to be here forever. Like this thing moves around. I need to see where is this thing going to be? And I think that's what eXp is really pushing is the aspect of, it's like Amazon failed miserably in the beginning. It wasn't making any money, but people were investing big money into it. And we're like, gosh, that seems like a stupid investment. Well, look at it today, right? I mean,
biggest in the world.
Crazy, stupid, successful.
So we're out of time, but we're going to be back here in a week. And so, Matt, if people want to find you, call you, learn about eXp, where can they go?
Well, to learn about eXp, go to www.themodelexplained.com. My phone number is really the best way to get me. Call or text me, and that's 916-718-2979. I'll say it again, 916-718-2979, or you can email me, MatthewStewartRealEstate@gmail.com.
Awesome. And if anyone wants to learn about eXp Commercial, you can go to expertcresecrets.com. That's expertcresecrets.com. You can also check out the model explained so that you can apply that video to the commercial model. Okay. And so what's cool is with eXp, you can do residential, commercial, business brokerage, M&A. You can get into one family and still build out an organization, which is amazing. Would love to talk to you about it. Love to break down to see if it could be a good fit. And we'll talk to you again, everyone, next week. Thanks for listening, and we'll wish you all the best. Bye now.
Bye-bye.